I want to thank everybody who's here. Certainly want to thank everybody. I got here early and there was at least a few people that were here at 8:30, so I owe you an apology. Nobody thought we were starting at 8:30 though. Those were just the early coffee drinkers. Okay, so at any rate, all right, we're all here. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's been on the screen. We put this on. This is not new. It's called 212 degrees. You can find it on the internet. And we showed it at the last sales rally we did 4 or 5 months ago. And I don't think anybody saw it because the lights were on. Anybody been watching this for the last few minutes? Okay, well, in the spirit of the Olympics, I just love this. Someone showed this to me probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I probably watch it, once or twice a year. And it really just kind of crystallizes the difference between good and great, or great and fantastic, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm not, for the sake of time, we have a lot of stuff to cover, but it's a pretty cool little video, and in the spirit of the Olympics, you're watching these people win gold medals by 2/100ths of a second, and it just all talks about effort, preparation, commitment, that little extra degree, and the 212 degrees, by the way, the catch on that is, and if I'm wrong, someone let me know, that water boils at 212 degrees. At 211, it doesn't. Big difference between just that 1 degree of what happens, and the whole theory is, that 1 extra degree of effort on our part could be the difference between us making a living in this business and not. So, anyway, we're going to get started. We've got a lot to cover, and even though we're going to be here for a couple hours or so, I don't think we have enough time. So, let's get rolling here. First of all, I want to, everybody from Chase, if you could stand up for me real quick. Is Ann here? I haven't seen Ann. Not you, Ann, the other Ann. Ann Weicker. She's not here? Oh, she's on her way. Okay, well, so I don't embarrass myself by forgetting somebody's names, I'm going to ask you guys to start, and I know Steve's name by memory, so I'm going to ask everybody at Chase, if you're standing up, to please introduce yourself, and we'll talk a lot more about what Chase is doing and why they're here and all the rest of that. But Steve, if you want to start, please.
Steve Allen, I'm the mortgage banker in the Chicago branch, and I'm trying to work closely with those of you from the Redlands office.
Lorena Igualate, I'm in the Montclair branch, and I'll be working with you in the Montclair area.
And Nathan Ock, I work on operations.
And I'm Regina Rutnam, I'm from the Chima Hills branch, but I'm going to head to the Covina office.
I'm Tiffany Mothershad, I'm out of the Redlands office, and I've been with Chase for about 15 years.
Mario Martinez, I cover Moreno Valley and Redlands.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sema Green in Ontario, and that's it, right? And I'm adorable, so call me.
That's right. And Del, don't be shy.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Del Manuelos. I'm the lending manager, and I'm going to be working with the Covina and the Claremont office. My other counterparts couldn't make it this morning. They had a corporate training, so they sent me. And then my other counterparts that I'm going to be speaking to you today are on their way right now, so they got stuck in traffic. So thank you for...
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you very much. We had talked about doing another event. Who was here when we did our event back in March? Raise your hand. Okay, we had talked about doing another one of these back in March. I wasn't really sure when we were going to do it. To be honest with you, I wasn't planning on doing it today. But over the last couple of months, we've been talking with Chase and developing that partnership, and they wanted to do something with our offices. So we kind of figured let's do kind of a blended deal. We can kind of do our little rally, and then we can hand off the second half of the meeting to them so they can kind of go through what they've got in mind and what's going on in the world of Chase. So again, I want to really thank them. This is not one of those, most of you know me pretty well, and I don't like affiliates, mortgage companies, title companies. Not that I don't like them. I don't like them at my meetings. Okay, I just traditionally don't want anybody at my sales meetings. I don't want you guys to be sold by Chase or B of A or escrow company or title company or home where I don't like it. This is not that. This is a little bit different. Chase just wanted to come in here and say, hey, give us your loans, yada, 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 we're the best lender in town, you know, they wouldn't be here. So there's something a little bit special here that we're trying to develop. So anyway, more to follow on them. This is a brief agenda of what we're going to do. So if you want to kind of get an idea of what your day is going to be look like, hopefully you got some coffee. We're going to spend about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes kind of going through our stuff. You guys know I like charts and graphs. We will take a break about 11:15. Anna, did you get that?
Yes.
So we do have some food. I don't think it's going to qualify as lunch, but you know, if you want an appetizer, little finger sandwich before you. What's that? Earthquake.
That was earthquake.
Did you guys see the one last night? Are we okay? Everybody good? All right. All right. So, assuming the building is still standing, we will take a break at about 11:15-ish. We've got some finger sandwiches and some little stuff. Like I say, it's probably not going to fill you up, but at least get you something. Then we're going to bring the Chase folks on, and hopefully we'll be here by 11:30. And then we're basically going to hand off the rest of the program from 11:30 on until however long you guys need an hour or so to do your stuff. So, and I think you guys will be done 12:30-ish? Is that kind of the plan? Okay, so we'll probably have you out here pretty much right around 12:30. So, you guys know I love Alfred E. Newman, so Mad Magazine, for those of you that aren't familiar. So I want to try to keep this somewhat conversational. I know that's pretty difficult with a room of 100 people to have hands popping up and asking questions all the time. But, you know, if you have questions, ask them. So, you know, throw up your hand or just shout out. Don't be polite if you're in the back doing one of these, stand up or whatever. So if you've got a question or comment, you think I'm wrong, you think I'm right, whatever you want to say, don't wait till the end. We'll take questions and have a little discussion at the end. But generally speaking, let's try to do a little bit of a dialogue so I'm not standing up here talking for the next hour and a half. A couple quick things I just want to mention, and again, given the fact that we had a little bit of a challenge with the time of this meeting, I'm just reminding everybody that we do have a portal on our website that has our training calendar on it. Okay? Who is looking at it? That's what I thought. Okay. Now I understand that, you know, it's another one of those things that you got to go to a website, you got to take a look at. But if you're questioning when and where and what we're doing next week or today or tomorrow, if you go to our website, go to the agent portal, click on the event calendar. I'm going to stop short of saying everything should be there, but you should find, you know, a pretty decent, you know, list of what our events are, training, and so on and so forth. So. Okay, so with that behind us, you guys know how much I love charts and graphs and all the rest of that, so we're going to jump right into that. This is what's going on, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but if you've got some questions or comments, let me know. This is CRMLS. This is basically a flat market, but as you can see, this is, by the way, this is July. The far right column is July of 2012. This is July of 2010. You've got 2 years worth of bars here. This has basically been flat. As you can see, the July of 2012 bar, and I just ran these reports last night, so this is about as current as we can get, is the highest bar on the chart. By the way, this is median price, okay? Having said that, I understand, and Norm will be the first one to remind everybody in the room, we don't really like median price as, you know, kind of the benchmark of what we look at. There's some flaws to it. I get that. Having said that, I've been looking at median price for 10 years, and if you just understand that it can be a little skewed by some high flyers and some low flyers, but generally speaking, over time, I like median price. There's 2 years worth of median price, and it's up 6% last month. Now this is from a 2-year window, so whenever you see up or down, I'm referencing July of 2012 to July of 2010. So we've got 2 years worth of data here. But the point being is this bar is the highest it's been in 2 years. What do you guys think we're going to do with that bar in the next month or 2 or 3 or 4? Up and away. I really think we're going to see some pretty significant numbers on the upside. Now, this is obviously the challenge. This is not news to anybody, so for those of you who are like, oh my God, Glenn's going to spend an hour and a half talking about what we already know, I'm not. But I want to at least state the obvious. CRMLS, active inventory, that's the red bars, is down 47% from 2 years ago. And quite honestly, it's down probably about 40% from even a year ago. This is where we were in July of 2011, so that's at least probably a 40% decline. The challenge, of course, for all of us is when is that red bar going to stop going down? When are we going to start to see some more inventory on the plate? So we've got 47% decrease in properties to sell, which is so painful because who's working with one buyer? 2, 3, 20. Right. Okay. There's just a tremendous amount of people engaged who want to buy properties, and it's just painful that we know we've got all this inventory out there that should be on the market, but we just haven't been able to tap into it because the banks aren't releasing it, and the short sale sellers aren't selling it. And if there's any indication that inventory is down, all you have to do is look to my left, your right. Dwayne Sanders is here. If you don't know Dwayne works on the Freddie account in the office, and Dwayne hasn't attended a meeting in 6 years because he hasn't had time. Well, he's here today, so he has time, which means he doesn't have much inventory as he had before. So at any rate, inventory is down. Obviously, that's tough. CRMLS has a 1.6 month supply. This is all of CRMLS. And again, I don't want to talk down to anybody in the room. I'm assuming most of you already know this, but CRMLS basically is Temecula, up the 215 corridor, pretty much to the high desert, stops, at the Cone Pass there. 10 freeway from Upland all the way out to Banning Beaumont. 91 freeway, San Bernardino, all the way through to Corona. Inland Empire plus, okay? It's a big chunk, big chunk of area. 1.6 months supply of inventory is not healthy. What's healthy? 6 months? Who said 6 months? I'm with you. 6 months is, that according to the National Association of Realtors, which, not that we want to use them as the standard bearer of data here, but about 6 months is healthy. I think if you go back and you take a look at more traditional markets, which I don't know if we've been in a traditional market for my entire real estate career, at least the last 25 years, I don't know that there's anything that's been normal about a real estate market since I got into business. I got into business in 1987, came out to, did a year in Cerritos, came out to the Inland Empire, 88, 89, 90, 91 was on fire. Who was in the business at that time? Listed, sold, right? I was listed, sold. Now it didn't sell in 3 days necessarily, but it sold. Property values went up, it was great. In the early 90s, for me, my trigger point was Gulf War I, which started in 1991. Things started to slow down a little bit. In our area, we were hurt by what? We were hurt by defense spending cuts. If you had a relative that worked at Hughes or any of the aircraft business in Southern California, what happened to them? Lost their jobs, it was gone, or at least reduced. Norton Air Force Base closed, March Air Force Base realigned. This was all in the early 90s, and then we started to see that down cycle, and at least for me, my world revolved around REOs from 1993 pretty much all the way through 1999. Not a normal market, right? We start to recover a little bit in 2000 and 2001. I'm sitting feeling pretty good, and then September 11th, 2001 comes, kind of changes our world just a little bit, right? I'm sitting in my office at Moreno Valley thinking, let alone the whole mental thing of the September 11th attacks, but in the context of the real estate market, it's like, wow, what's this going to do to our real estate market? I thought the real estate market was going to completely tank. What happened? The exact opposite. Money came out of Wall Street, went into real estate, it's safe, I want to own land, I don't want to do the rest of the sort of stuff. And then from 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, anything normal about that? No. Nothing normal about that. And then, of course, you can, for me, June of 2006, if you look at all the data, property values pretty much anywhere, certainly in Southern California, peaked in June of 2006. If you sold your house in June of 2006, you were the beneficiary of the ride. If you bought in June of 2006, or frankly, in a lot of that lead up, frankly, if you bought in 4, 5, or 6, or refi and pull money out, you were probably in trouble. But at any rate, back then, even in those unusual markets, we normally had 6 to 8 months supply of inventory. We now have 1.6, pretty scary stuff. This is Moreno Valley. I just did a snapshot of each location, just because I know we're all from all. By the way, Moreno Valley, raise your hand. If you're in the Moreno Valley office. Claremont? Claremont's in the house. Nice. Covina? Covina. Redlands? Beautiful. Santa Ana? Dwayne! Oh, Santa Ana? Oh, okay. You don't count. You're a double. All right. Well, good. That's pretty good representation of all offices. So we're going to do a snapshot of each office. This is Moreno Valley. Active listings are down 56%. Pendings are up. We're selling properties. Solds are down. By the way, I'm talking July of 2012 compared to July of 2010. Okay? Is that a surprise to anybody in Moreno Valley? That's what it feels like. That's what it is. It's exactly what's happening. Here's Redlands. Redlands actives are down 52%. Pendings are up. Solds are up. Selling more house in Redlands today than we did 2 years ago. This is, by the way, maybe Sheila and I should have discussed this before I threw these numbers up there to make sure I know my market. But this is Redlands and Loma Linda combined. I chose to combine the Redlands Loma Linda market as opposed to just Redlands. There's so little units in Redlands proper, I threw a little extra in there. But bottom line, now when I say solds, I'm not talking prices. I'm talking unit sales. Okay, just to go back to clarify, this is the number of houses sold during that window is down 15%. And by the way, as long as we're on Moreno Valley, very interesting. Would we all agree that Moreno Valley is one of the hardest hit markets as it relates to foreclosure? Yes. You can say that in front of me, that's home for me, basically. We have 210. Anybody run it in the last couple days? Mike?
185 yesterday, 77 standards, 26 were REOs, the rest were short sales.
Okay, what was the first number, 185?
185.
Okay. There are 185 houses for sale in the entire city of Moreno Valley as of yesterday. Now, to put that in context, we have been selling in the city of Moreno Valley between 300 and 350 houses per month, every month, forever. I've been in that town for 24 years now. Sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little less, but on average, the city can absorb about 350 houses per month. We now have, which is an all-time low based upon what I've been tracking. I haven't heard anything less than 200 and 205. So, and Mike knows what he's talking about, he tracks it as well. 185 properties. We have the equivalent of about 16, 17 days of standing inventory, which really isn't true because of the 185, how many of those are unsellable? Half. Unsellable for some reason or another. They show active in the MLS, but they're really not. They're in backup or the seller's crazy. I have one of those, by the way. It's the 184 active on the market because I have an active listing that I can't sell. It's been on the market for 18 months. My seller has had a stroke. We can't get past that. It's an unsellable piece of inventory. I have wasted a tremendous amount of agents and buyers' time. First, I have, because I've allowed this property to stay active in the MLS. I should have just canceled it and withdrawn it a long time ago. And I like to think I know what I'm doing. So, at any rate, it's certainly a challenge when you have that low of a market as far as inventory. Again, Redlands, actives down, pending sales up, more units sold over the last 2 years. Claremont, active units down. By the way, the percentages are approximately the same across the board as far as the percentage of inventory as far as it's down. Actives down 49%, pendings are up, solds are down about 7%. This is the surprise. Covina, raise your hand. Okay, are you ready for this? This shocked the heck out of me. Actives are down, pending sales. Are you Covina agents getting a piece of that? I'm not sure we're getting our entire piece. We might be getting some of that. But the pending sales in Covina, by the way, this is Covina, West Covina. That's the definition of what we have up here. The units in escrow, and if you just look at this blue bar, and you compare it to that blue bar right there, that's 93% increase in pending sales. Did anybody know that from Covina? I didn't know that. I mean, I've been tracking it, but I didn't. If you go back and you look at here, I mean, that's a big jump. There's a lot of homes that went into escrow in that Covina, West Covina market in the month of July. I hope we got a piece of that. By the way, I'm going to take a little sidebar. Who's familiar with the fact that we have sales reports? Never mind, we'll just leave it at that. 4 hands went up. Sales managers, would you work on that for me? You need to report those sales. If you're working with the buyers and you've sold the property, let somebody know so that we can figure out whether we're participating in this 93% increase in sales or not.
Don't we, when we turn in the file, don't they know already anyway?
Well, yeah, but when you turn in the file, you put something in escrow in July, when are you going to close?
Typically August.
August. Okay.
So I mean, if it closes, don't you know anyway?
I'm gonna know in August. I want to know in July. This is kind of a management thing, and I understand, you guys, I'm an agent at heart. I don't like, and I'd like to think that we don't burden you guys with a lot of excess paperwork and reports and nonsense and all the rest of that, because as a working agent and somebody who's basically been, an agent and not a broker owner for the majority of my real estate career, I don't want to be burdened and bothered by my manager or my broker owner to give them unnecessary paperwork. I think the only thing we really ask you for is give us the sales report and give us a complete file. Other than that, we kind of leave you alone. Everybody agree? A little bit? Okay. The reason it's nice for us to sit back and see if you guys sold the property today as opposed to find out you sold it, 2 months later, is to know whether we are we participating in this 93%? Because if we're not participating in this 93%, we are doing something wrong. Either you or me or the managers or collectively, we've got a problem. How come we only got our sales in Covina went up? I don't know what they are. Actually, I should. I'm embarrassed to say that. But if our sales only went up 2% or maybe went down 10%, wow, what's going on? Why is that? Why is that the case? So, as it relates to the sales reports, by the way, they are online now. We'll send out an email. Who knows that you can do your sales reports online? Seriously, okay. We'll talk about that there. At any rate, but also in Covina, solds are up 29%. This is the only office where the pendings and the solds are up. And when I say office, let me rephrase it. The only market that we're calling in our 5 markets where things are up. So if you're in the Covina office, you should be excited. I'm excited by these numbers. So I hope you guys are feeling the same thing. This is all of SoCal MLS. I didn't run Santa Ana specifically, but since Dwayne's technically the only Santa Ana agent, but who's doing business, west of the, west of Corona or west of Mariloma? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Are you interested to know what's going on in our neighborhood to the west?
Absolutely.
Well, this is what's going on. Actives are down 46%, pendings are up 59, solds are up 5. So their pendings are looking good, very similar to what we're seeing. Solds are up, again, very similar to what we're seeing, and the actives are down. Are our actives down between 40 and 60%? Yes. Same thing in Orange County. I see, other than price point, I see no difference. And I want somebody to convince me why the Orange County market is different than the Inland Empire or West San Gabriel Valley. I see no difference in the market other than price. They have the exact same challenges we have, and in some cases, they're even harder. Has anybody sold a house and got a jumbo loan in the last 6 months? Raise your hand. I see none. Actually, 1. Okay. Have anybody tried to get a jumbo loan in the last 6 months? Well, move to Orange County. See if you can get a jumbo loan. Jumbo loan's easy to get, Chase? I don't see a lot of nodding up there. I see blank stares. Have you guys done a jumbo loan in the last 6 months? A little. Anyway, jumbos are tough. So at any rate, Orange County market has its challenges as well. This is an old chart. I've been showing this in every single meeting I've been doing since I got a hold of this chart, which was November of 2011. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. If you don't understand this chart, you need to study it, because this is when the real estate market fundamentally changed as it relates to the buying side of the transaction. The pink is, let's start with the blue. The blue is housing price. Oh, by the way, this is national. This is not Inland Empire or Southern California. Blue chart is housing price index. What basically is the national, what have prices done going back to 1983 to the end of 2011? And in all of those years, up until about 2001, 2003, the blue line and the purple line, for the most part, were fairly close together. And the purple line is the owner equivalent rent index. algorithm they use, and they say based upon sales prices nationally and based upon rents nationally, where do things fall? This is kind of your rent versus buy argument. Do I rent or do I buy? Well, from 1989 to 1991, or 87 to 91, what happened? Property values kind of got a little out of skew as it relates to rents. If you remember 15 minutes ago, when I was giving you my 25-year career in real estate, I got into business right here. For those of you that got into the business or were in the business in 1987, was that a good time to be in the real estate business? Let me rephrase that. Was it a little easier to sell a house from 87 to 91? It was. Values were going up, people were engaged, and actually this was, if lack of a better word, a little mini bubble. Okay? Then, again, 1991, this is my Gulf War story I just said 15 minutes ago. Things kind of flattened out, and then and again, this is national, by the way, United States. And then from 91, 92 till about 1999, what happened? Things slowed down a little bit. Things pulled back. For me personally, it was an REO cycle. We're doing Fannie and Freddie's. And then it made sense to go out and buy in those areas, especially if you're a renter, because now basically what was it? Again, it's the rent versus buy argument. If you were working with buyer's agents trying to get them off the fence, you said, hey, come on, you're renting a house here, go buy, your equivalent rent is going to be less. Is that what we told them? That's what I told them. And then, of course, here we are, which actually the chart kind of changes in 1999. In my world, I don't think it changed till closer here, but then, of course, here we are. And this is July of 2006. That's why when I say values changed price in July of 2006, pretty much across the country, frankly, for that part, I think across the world. Property values peaked in July of 2006, and then here's the ride back, and now here we are. This is 10 months ago. We are back in balance. Okay. So if you were concerned about selling a house to a client during this period of time, anybody feel bad about selling a house to buyer over here? Anybody? Nobody? One? Two? The rest of you are perfectly comfortable with that, right? How many listing agents are in here? We don't feel bad, right? We've got an ethical and a fiduciary responsibility to get the maximum amount of money we can for the seller, right?
Right.
Our code of ethics says if we can sell a house as a listing agent, I don't know what that article it is, maybe there's an expert in NAR's code of ethics, but if we can sell a house for $250, or if we can sell a house for $580, right? Six what?
$565.
If we can sell a house for $565 that we think is worth $480, should we be rewarded for that?
Yes.
We should be rewarded for that. And that's kind of, sort of, I'm not quoting it verbatim, but that's kind of what our code of ethics says. We can sell it for higher than market, God bless us. Now on the buying side of the transaction, if you're in this area, anybody sold a house to somebody in 2006 and thought, oh geez, I feel a little bit bad about that? Not one of you? I do. I sold a house for $325,000 in June of 2006 as the listing agent, top dollar. I got to tell you, at least a couple times a year, I think about that poor buyer that bought that house. And I feel bad for them because they've been wiped out. And they were oblivious to it. And frankly, I think their agent was oblivious to it. Pardon me?
But the point is, we all.
Okay, well then there you go. So we're all oblivious to it. So, but at any rate, here we are. Here we are in this chart. So the point being is, if you've ever not felt good about selling real estate as it relates to price and where things are going, now's a pretty good time to feel good about it. If you're listing side, buying side, you could sit back and say, man, look at this. If for no other reason, sales prices have that equivalent rent index. So, I love this chart. I think it is absolutely fantastic. So, having said that, who else loves this chart? Anybody chime in? Oh, you guys all love this chart. Okay, you love that chart. I'm trying to put the image of Wall Street. This is Southern California. This is Southern California map. Here's our offices. And I've got 4 images of Wall Street, including Gordon Gekko. For those of you who don't know, why in the world is, Michael Douglas up there? That's Gordon Gekko from the Wall Street movie. Okay? Okay, let's stop here for just a second. Who has buyers that they're working with right now? Who has FHA first-time buyers in their pocket? They want to buy, right? Who has conventional buyers, maybe first-time, maybe move up, with money in their pocket? And you all have more than one, right? Who has an individual investor who maybe wants to buy 1 or 2 houses, kind of mom and pop? Okay? Who has an investor who says, I want to buy a few more than 1 or 2 houses. Maybe I want to buy 10 or 15 or 20. Okay? Who's had an investor contact them that says, I want to buy 100 a month? Okay? Something is going on out here, guys. In the last, well, including today, I haven't had the meeting today. I have a meeting today at 3 o'clock. I have met with 3 Gordon Geckos. Now, they're not Gordon. They're Gordon's minions. They're Charlie Sheen. Okay? I met with 3. What was Charlie Sheen's character's name? Who? I met with 3 Bud Foxes, for those of you Wall Street fans. 3 Charlie Sheens. And Wall Street has looked at this and said, we like Southern California. And not only do they like Southern California, I think they like real estate pretty much everywhere on the planet. For about 2 weeks, I've been working with, for lack of a better description, a hedge fund buyer. I believe them. By the way, who believes an investor that says, I have all cash and I'm going to close and I'm going to buy 5 houses? Who believes those buyers on balance? Well, I don't. I don't believe any of them. Okay? Show me the money, close a few deals, then I'll believe you. We've all had that buyer. I have cash. They don't have cash. They got a letter in the mail that says you're pre-approved for an unsecured line of credit for $500,000. Right? They don't have cash. They're waiting for a workers' comp settlement. As soon as my workers' comp settlement clears, does anybody have that? Has anybody written an offer for somebody only to find out that the money's coming from a workers' comp settlement? I have. I've done it. I haven't done it recently, but a few years ago. All kind of credit ready to close. Well, my attorney said that I should have the money by the end of the month. Right? Okay, for those of you that have had that experience, you know that never happens. I mean, it takes forever. So at any rate, Wall Street likes this chart, and they are in town. I've got one investor who, as of 2 days ago, has said we, I mean the collective we, are going to be their exclusive, for lack of a better word, buyer's agents in the Inland Empire. And they want to buy 100 properties per month. And they have $400 million. All we have to do is find them 100 properties a month. Is that easy?
No.
Well, we're going to get to that. We have another investor who basically, oh, by the way, and this is important, their strategy is buy and hold. They want to hold for about 3 years. They need a property manager. By the way, we do property management, in case you haven't figured that out. And then what are they going to do in 3 years, or at some point, give or take 3 years, what are they going to do? They're going to sell. And they're going to do what? They're going to need some agents. They have the money. I believe them. I believe that they are capable and want to buy 100 properties a month. I think we'd be fortunate to be able to find them 10, but anyway, we'll leave that aside for a moment. Another investor, same exact deal, wants to buy as many as they can get. Matter of fact, I think the direct quote was, I have a blank check, find me houses. What's his strategy? It's not buy and hold, so what's the next strategy? Fix and flip. Oh, by the way, let me back up. Very important. Investor number 1, how many of you have had an investor that says, I have a lot of money, I want to buy 100 properties. Oh, and by the way, I'm willing to pay retail. Or, are you ready? Up to 105% of market value today. Above retail. Has anybody ever had an investor that said that to them?
No, but it's
When? Okay. When was that? Was recently?
Yes.
Okay. Has anybody ever had an investor that said that to them prior to 60 days ago? I never have. What do investors want? They want a discount.
50 cents.
They want 50 cents on the dollar. In most cases, they know they can't get 50 cents on the dollar, so they're looking for 35 to 30% discount. Because that's, you can't buy and flip unless you've got at least a 30 to 35% discount. It doesn't make any sense, right? You're going to lose your butt. So when you have somebody that comes and says, I'm willing to pay, an investor that says, I'm willing to pay retail plus, has something changed? Has the game changed? The game has changed dramatically. And then there's a third investor I'm actually meeting with today who's already in the market, which by the way, I'm leaving the names out, on purpose. I don't want everybody to start, finding the people on the internet and saying, hey, Lance said, here I am, here to serve you. Which, by the way, keep in mind, the whole goal, for me anyway, is to try to leverage these contacts to the benefit of you guys. Okay? I can't sell my house. Okay? I can't do it. I mean, it's as much as I'd like to. And by the way, they don't want me to sell 100 houses a month. They look at Global Banker with 5 offices, Claremont, Covina, Redlands, Marina Valley. To be honest with you, they're not interested in North Orange County. I'm sorry, Dwayne. So come to the east, water's warm. Okay? But at any rate, they're looking at 4 offices, they're looking at 180 agents, and they're saying, hey, help us find some inventory we can buy. Anyway, I'm meeting with a third investor today who also has kind of a hybrid model of a buy and hold, buy and flip, depending on what the values are. So the world has changed dramatically. Does anybody got any concerns about Wall Street in our marketplace? None? I do. I'm absolutely. I'm excited, but Wall Street is associated with what? Well, they're associated with Wall Street, stock market. Okay? Can we all agree that the stock market has a little bit inherent risk in it, a little bit more of a gamble? You certainly, if you don't have, at least I feel this way, if you don't have the inside information, if you don't have the Gordon Gekko info or the Bud Fox info, my experience in Wall Street has been 0 return. Okay? If I look at what I've had invested in Wall Street, which again is contrary to what all the investors say, I don't invest in real estate, go invest in Wall Street instead. If you're not in the know, you tend to, your investments tend to fail. My concern with Wall Street into the Southern California market is I like the real estate market. I like the real estate market. I don't like the stock market. Stock market to me is unpredictable. Loss points up 200 one day, down 200 the next day. Real estate, for the most part, up until this, has been fairly predictable, market-driven forces. So anyway, we get these Wall Street types in here, it concerns me. 2 of these 3 people that I've already met with, we were talking, which by the way, what do investors normally look for when they're buying? They're looking for a discount, right? I want to buy at a discount. 30% off, 25% off, 35% off. They're also looking for yield. When you go here, is your yield greatly improved here than it was here? Absolutely. Basically, return on investment. What's it going to take us? What's it going to cost? What are the rents going to be equivalent, so on and so forth. And then they're looking for appreciation. Now, investors that were buying here, did they have a problem with the appreciation side? Actually, they had a problem with the entire side. They might have been able to get, what could you get in this market? Could you get the discount? Potentially. Could you get the yield? No. Could you get the appreciation? Or if you accounted on appreciation, were you surprised? No problem. Okay? So basically they're looking for appreciation. The main thing that, in my opinion, what these guys are looking for right now, or what they anticipate, is appreciation. And 2 of these 3 people I've met with, uncoached, I didn't put the words in their mouth, they used the exact same word, artificial. They're anticipating artificial appreciation. And guess what they still want to do? Buy 100 a month. Now, where this goes from here, are we going to see property values increase? We've already seen it. Which, by the way, I think I might have shared this with Sheila. I don't remember. I don't know if I ran it on Monday and told you or not. I ran the Redlands market for July, just 10 days ago. 32% appreciation in median price. Now again, it's median price. Might have been a couple high flyers, maybe had a couple $1 million properties sell that skewed things out of whack. But some of you have heard me say, what do I anticipate appreciation to do in the next 6 to 12 months? Anybody? I've said it to half of those people in this room. It's going to go up. What number have I said?
50%.
50%. No, it's on tape, so I could be wrong. We'll play the tape back and say, Lance, you were wrong. You were wrong, Lance. It was actually 75%. I think we're here, and as painful as this was, it seems to have been forgotten. And quite honestly, it's also being controlled. Right? Total control. Who's controlling inventory? Fannie, Freddie, banks, okay, Wall Street. And I don't know if we're headed for this, but I certainly think we're headed for this. If we don't see a 50% appreciation in property values in the next 6 to 12 months, I'll be completely shocked. Completely shocked. Now, for those of you, so wait a minute, that can't happen. Who's having appraisal problems? Raise your hand. Only a few of you? Who has sold a property for more than they thought it could appraise for in the last 30 days? Okay, well, there's a heck of a lot more people raised their hands with the second question than the first one. Now, did you not have an appraisal problem because it was all cash, or did you not have an appraisal problem because the appraisal came in? Okay, well, what did I just tell you these investors are willing to do? Retail plus. Retail plus. Who has an FHA buyer today that has agreed to pay the difference between the appraised value and the contract price? And it's in escrow right now. 1, 2, 3. FHA buyer, which is very unheard of. FHA buyer comes in and says, I want this house really bad, and Steven says it's worth $150 and it'll appraise for $150, and it says, but there's 32 offers on it. They say, I want it, I gotta have it, I'll pay $160. The seller counters back and says what? You can have it for $160 if you agree to pay the difference if it doesn't appraise. And these buyers are now saying what? Okay. Is that different? Is that a shift in the mentality of the marketplace? So you've got FHA buyers willing to pay more. You've got Wall Street investor types willing to pay more. Charlene just sold a property for way more than we thought it was worth. $580, and thought it was worth whatever, $560.
And it appraised.
And it appraised.
FHA.
And the percentage above was almost what, 15, 17% higher than what you thought it was worth? We don't need to get the math out of the calculator, right? It was good price. So at any rate, this excites me, but it also concerns me. Okay? Because I do think we're going to have a big run-up. Having said that, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's nothing normal about this market, right? Have we been in a normal market for 20 years? We'll get ready for the new norm. The new norm is fasten your seatbelts and go out and let's find some inventory and sell these houses to these people. But then also be prepared for, what would change this dramatically? What's going to potentially change this dramatically? Foreclosures and flood. How many foreclosures are coming on the market today compared to a year ago? Almost none. Almost none. And frankly, a year ago, what percentage of the properties came to market in relation to what should have come on the market?
Very little.
Very little. Okay? We've been in a 4-year cycle going back to September of 2008. Who remembers SB 1137? California legislature passed a bill 4 years ago this month. It was the very first foreclosure moratorium in the state of California. The concept was simple. There's too many foreclosures. The tsunami is going to wipe us out. We have to slow this down. And the law basically said, you can't foreclose on anybody, which at the time seemed draconian, and I was about ready to slit my wrist. Law said you can't foreclose on anybody for 90 days. So freeze, moratorium. And then this was the initiation where the banks, the Chase folks, and everybody said, I have to call you at least 3 times. To send you a letter, to knock on your door, I have to call you. And the banks had to prove this and document that they had called that borrower and done everything they possibly could, as opposed to, we haven't made a payment, we sent 1,000 letters, we're just going to foreclose on you, which is what we've done for you. And call. I don't want to call anybody out who's gone through a foreclosure, but you don't make your bill. Do you guys call people? You say, would you pay your mortgage payment, please? You don't call them anymore? We used to call them. Because I was dealing with those people all the time. I said, I don't pick up the phone anymore because I got the people at Chase and Wells and BofA calling me every 5 minutes. Are you going to make a payment or not? And this is pre-2008. It was that way in the 90s. But at any rate, that law came in. Then we've got the alphabet alphabet soup of modifications, the hope for homeowners, the HARP, the help now, the HAFA, the, I don't even know, there's so many of them, it's just ridiculous. So it's been 4 years of that, and today, we have a perfect storm going on. We have banks not foreclosing, right? Let's talk a little bit about short sale sellers. Who thought that this was going to be the year that we were going to do a lot of short sales? 6 of you? What are the rest of you doing? Working with buyers? You got 30 buyers with nothing to sell? Well, I thought this was going to be the year for short sales. I thought I made that clear. So maybe the message didn't get out. Now, having said that, if you weren't aware of that, you probably saved yourself a lot of headache in the last 7 months. Because if you've been prospecting for short sales, who's prospecting for short sales the last 7 months? Is it tough? Is it getting tougher?
Yes.
Are the sellers disengaged?
Yep.
I have a new word for them. I believe we've created a new entitlement in the United States of America. And the entitlement is, I get to stay in my house, I don't have to make my mortgage payment, nobody's going to do a damn thing about it. Okay? Not going to do a damn thing about it. I know a few of you have already heard this story, so bear with me. I went knocking doors a month and a half ago. I sent an email to everybody, by the way, or if you took me up on it. And we went into foreclosure radar. We searched 10 houses. We were going to go out for 3 or 4 hours. And we searched properties that were in foreclosure, that had a notice of sale filed against the property, and they were all scheduled to go to sale the following week. I think we went out on a Wednesday. Every one of these 10 properties had a sale date scheduled the following week, which in theory means hammer comes down, game over, you just lost your house. We went by 10 properties, which by the way, none of them were listed. Okay? Not one of them had a for sale sign in the yard or were active or even any indication that they'd ever been listed. Knocked on 10 doors, talked to 6 of the 10 people, which is a telling in itself. We went out, what time did we go out, Rose? You were there. 1 o'clock in the afternoon? 6 people were home. 6 adults. 60% of the people we knocked doors on a Tuesday afternoon were home at 1 o'clock. Is that how it used to be? It didn't used to be that way. What are people supposed to be doing at 1 o'clock? Working. So at any rate, the 6 people we talked to, how many listings did we walk away with that day? 0. How many people said, yes, I'm interested in a short sale, please come back and give me more information? How many people had any ounce, even indicated any stress? Any sense of urgency? Nothing.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was 6 out of 6, but at least a few of them, you know, just so you know, and I get the fact that you think you got this under control, but you do have a sale date scheduled for next Tuesday. So just whatever you do, make sure you call Chase and make sure whoever you're talking to at whatever bank it happens to be is as comfortable with the fact that your house isn't going to go to foreclosure next Tuesday as you are. Right? Because we've all had that happen, you know. All of a sudden something just, you know, there's no foreclosure, no foreclosure, no foreclosure, and then what happens? Bam! And of course, when does that happen? Right? When you guys are ready to close escrow, right? So there, but no sense of urgency, no stress, no, just knowing, again, we have a new entitlement class. We have a new entitlement class in this country that says I can stay. So, get back to my perfect storm analogy I started an hour ago. Foreclosures are not being done by Fannie and Freddie and everybody else. And to the degree they are, they're very, very small percentage of what's coming out the pipeline. Short sale sellers, which is where we should be working right now, right? Have said, maybe I'll hang on. No sense. No sense of urgency. And then this third thing, and it's on my slide a little bit later. Who's heard of the Homeowner Bill of Rights? Raise your hand. Fake it. Raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. You've now heard of the Homeowner Bill of Rights. California legislature, I talked about this in every single meeting, guys, starting about 6 months ago. And I said, we have to stop this, and we didn't. And when I say we, me, you, California Association of Realtors, and I am still your director at California Association of Realtors, but I gotta tell you, I am a little disillusioned with our ability to influence any sort of real estate policy anywhere on the planet. Because not only did we not stop this, we had, as best I can tell, 0 effect And I don't want to get Republican or Democrat in here, but in theory, at least the Republican side of the elected body was going to oppose this. Half the Republican body voted for it. This is bad law. It's bad law. It got a great name though, right? How can you vote against, or how as we as realtors can say the homeowner Bill of Rights is bad? I mean, how can you say that? Right? It's like that being against like babies and puppy dogs, you know? So, at any rate, that has passed. When does it kick in? January 1. When has it really kicked in? Now. Now. Front page of the Riverside Press Enterprise, and I'm certain that other papers have a similar picture. A family, husband and wife, I assume, and a child, 10 years old, standing in front of their house. Beautiful house, by the way, green grass, nicer house than I live in. Standing with their arms raised to the heavens, big smiles on their face in celebration. I go to the driveway, I grab my newspaper with my dog, and normally I kind of take a look at the headline as I'm walking up the driveway, going back into the house, and I see this picture of this family, and I instantly think, they just won the lottery. They've won a trip to Disney World. Why are these people so happy? Well, what was the headline? The headline was these people are celebrating the passage of the Homeowner Bill of Rights, and that they get to stay in a property that they haven't made payments on for 3 years. Because the Homeowner Bill of Rights extends their ability to stay in this property. You wonder why we're having a problem with short sales? So you put those 3 factors in, and you throw this wonderful piece of legislation on top of it. And by the way, there's some good stuff. So those who are scratching your head and saying, wait a minute, Lance. So you're scratching your head, Wilson. For those of you that are saying, wait a minute, I heard that there's some good things in the Homeowner Bill of Rights. There are some good things in the Homeowner Bill of Rights. One of them that makes perfect sense. Who's heard of dual tracking? Dual tracking is I'm working with Drew on a short sale, and things are going along pretty well. He's my seller. And, let's just pick on Chase, you guys. And he has a loan, which, by the way, we're going to talk a lot about short sales, and not to be overly complimentary because you're in the room. You guys are doing a good job on your short sales. Let's just pretend, but work with me on this for just a minute, okay? We're working on a short sale. We think we're doing a good job. We think we've got everything approved, and we're close to getting the sale. And then what happens? What do these guys do? Okay, foreclose. Dual tracking. Tracking on a short sale or a modification, tracking down the path of foreclosure. The irony of it is that you would think it happens all the time, when the reality is it's not happening that often, because otherwise we'd see a heck of a lot more foreclosures. So at any rate, the new legislation that was just passed prevents that. Will we agree that that's a good thing?
Yes.
Are there always unintended consequences of what seems to be a good thing?
Yes.
There is. I don't know what those are yet, because number one, the law hasn't even kicked in yet. I will tell you what one of the unintended consequences is today, people feel no urgency to do anything, because they certainly think that they can wait. They can wait till January. I'm talking short sale sellers. The short sellers they feel a sense of comfort even more so than they have before. There may be some other unintended consequences of it that we haven't felt yet. Is it possible that in January, again, we won't pick on Chase, let's just say lender A, says, okay, well, since we can't dual track, we'll just foreclose. Is that possible?
Yes.
Is that what the lawmakers had in mind?
No.
No. It's entirely possible. And we haven't seen the effects of this yet, but there was another law that was passed earlier this year that basically said if a second trust deed holder agrees to a short sale, they can't, what?
Pursue deficiency.
They can't pursue deficiency and they're done. Sounded like a good plan, right? Now, it may be too early to know, but I have a feeling what's going to happen with that is, now again, we're not talking necessarily second trust deed holders where Chase has the first and Chase has a home equity line, or BFA first and second, or even Chase has the first and maybe, whoever, Homecomings has a second. But is it possible that some of those second trust deed holders, who's experienced this, where the second trust deed holder says, forget you, man. Right, I want more money. I won't settle for 5. If I can't pursue a deficiency, I want 25. Anybody experiencing that? Okay. That, in theory, is an unintended consequence of what was supposed to make the short sale process simpler. Everyone's going to go after their own self-interest. Okay, I'm going a little long here. I'm never going to finish it unless I get off this slide. Okay, so, at any rate, well, actually, before I get off this slide, There is one thing that is absolutely got me so excited. I mean, there's a little bit of tough news in here as it relates to inventory. Everybody gets that, right? If that's bringing you down a little bit, you need to check that at the door. Has anybody ever seen a more engaged buyer in their 20 years or 30 years or 5 years in the real estate market than you see today? I have never seen a more excited buyer pool in my entire real estate career. Never. First-time buyers, people that have owned properties, small investors, these guys. When somebody comes from out of town and says, I want to buy 100 properties a month, and there's a whole bunch of them lined up behind them, have we ever experienced anything like that? Ever? So the exciting part is 50% of what's required for us to make a living in this business is ready, willing, able, and wants to buy a boatload of properties. More than we've ever sold. More than we've ever sold, ever. We just got to get the other 50% of the market, the sellers. We got to go get those sellers, which is frankly what we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about for the rest of this meeting. Okay, a little bit of news. We already talked about it. I got ahead of myself. We've got our perfect storm. We've got our homeowner bill of rights. You guys do need to bone up on this. Okay, so if you're hearing this for the first time, go to one of the CAR news flashes. There's been dozens and dozens of articles that summarize it very, very nicely. Or let your sales manager know, or send me an email and we'll get it over to you. I just threw this in here just for giggles. A lot of you are already aware of this, and you're probably up to speed on this. But if you're not, San Bernardino County's proposal to do eminent domain, I think is pretty much dead. Does anybody have any new news on that? Dead, dying? Nobody knows what I'm talking about? Okay. San Bernardino County has proposed to take properties by eminent domain. What do we normally take properties for eminent domain for? We're going to build a freeway, we're going to put in a school, an off-ramp, whatever happens to be. That's the traditional method. They basically said, we're going to go to a pool of underwater mortgage holders. We will identify them based upon certain metrics. They have a Chase loan. Property's worth $200, Chase has a loan for $410. They're going to eminent domain Chase's loan. See ya. You don't have a loan with them anymore. Not a darn thing you can do about it. You've used our government powers to seize the loan or the property. You're not tearing down the property, you're going to build a school. They're just wiping out Chase's loan. Then, of course, the homeowner has to come in and do a refi. I don't know if Chase will get to refi, probably not. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be great? Let me wipe out your $400,000 loan, and then let me force you to give these people a new loan at 180, and then maybe at an interest rate below par, or whatever it happens to be. But anyway, this is being talked about. I think this is going to fail, but this is a seed that has been planted. It is growing and spreading like wildfire. Sheila.
Just for anyone's information, the next meeting regarding this, because the Board of Directors at East Valley has been involved in it, is August 16th in San Bernardino. So
Okay.
it's scary, and we're all trying to fight against it as
Right.
much as we can.
Right. And by the way, if you guys disagree with what I'm saying, I'd love to hear some contrary views. I personally think this is an absolutely terrible idea. But this is the concern. Whether this gets passed in San Bernardino County and gets any legs, which I don't think it will, is this getting attention in other parts of the state and other parts of the country? Absolutely. It's going to happen somewhere. It may not happen in San Bernardino County, but it's going to happen somewhere. Which, by the way, for those of you that are still scratching your head a little bit on that, the only people, the way it's currently drafted, the only people that actually get to qualify for the eminent domain property are people who are upside down but are current. Yeah, who said that? That's exactly how I feel. Wait a minute. Okay, so let's just assume for a minute that this is a great program. This is how we're going to deal with the upside down underwater property. Let's assume for a minute we all agree. But the way it's drafted is the only people that get to qualify for the program are people who are upside down but current. Do they need the help? No. Why not? Well, let's put it in a different context. But you're right, I agree with you. But you would think that the first people you would go to would the people who are upside down but haven't made a mortgage payment in 2 or 3 years. Right? Those seem to be the ones that need maybe a little more help than the people that are current. But I think that was Diane who said, why not? And I would agree with why not, because if you're going to eminent domain my neighbor's house who hasn't made a mortgage payment in 3 years, who's upside down, I want, and I have, well, you got to treat me the same way, right? So you got to eminent domain all of them. And then, well, wait a minute, you're only eminent domain people that are 80% upside down. Well, that's not fair. I'm 40% upside down. You're eminent domain me too. This is the problem with principal reduction. The problem with principal reduction, which, by the way, who's familiar with Chairman DeMarco, FHFA? Okay, there's been a lot of news out there, and the guy who's in charge of FHFA, who's in charge of Fannie and Freddie right now, his name is DeMarco. I can't remember his first name. Do you know his first name? Anybody? At any rate, he has been pressured for over a year to basically, as a policy, have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac engage in principal reduction of mortgages. The house is worth $250, the mortgage is $350. Let's cram it down. Let's get the mortgage down somewhere to $250. I don't agree with DeMarco on almost anything he's been doing, except I do agree with him on this, and his position has been no. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will not do principal reductions on properties. And I think the reason that they won't do it is because of the little conversation we just had. If you're going to do it for one, you got to do it for all. And you've all heard or had this conversation. You know, Dell has a house, and we live right next door. We bought the houses at the same time. Dell has a new boat and a new RV and a new room addition, and he's got a swimming pool, and his kids go to private school, and doesn't sound bad? Okay. We barbecue every weekend, and Dell comes over next weekend and says, hey, Fannie Mae just principal reduced my property. Are you kidding me? You son, you. Well, but seriously, but that's why this can't, it's literally the slippery slope argument. You've got all of the toys, you've been quote unquote irresponsible, I haven't, you get the reduction, I don't. Am I hitting a note here, guys? We have to get engaged, I'm telling you. I wish I would have started talking like this 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I would stand in meetings at CER and NER, and I wanted to get up out of my chair and say, we need to foreclose on these people. They're not making their mortgage payments, we need to foreclose on them. Why did I not say that? Because it looked very self-serving. Lance is the REO guy, he's going to benefit from him, he's a heartless bastard. How could he do that? Okay? I didn't say anything. I sat on my hands, and I sat on my hands for 3 years. And for 4 years, this is what we got. We can't do this alone. We all have to get engaged. We have to start taking our real estate market back, because we're not going to have a real estate market. And anyway, that's what's going on in San Bernardino. San Bernardino filed BK. By the way, we're going to have more cities near you filing BKs.
Yep.
I can't. The state of California, which, by the way, in case you haven't heard, we have a balanced budget, right? Yes, we do. State of California has a balanced budget. That balanced budget is predicated on what? We have to vote in November to raise taxes. The budget is balanced in the state of California if we collectively go to the polls and we agree. I don't even know what the proposition number is. If we agree to approve proposition, X, that raises taxes. The budget's balanced. What if we don't agree?
People lose jobs.
People lose jobs. But that's the hard part about it. People are going to lose jobs. That's not right, Lance. You can't have people lose jobs. I should have fired 7 people last week. 7 people. You know most of them. Should have fired them. I didn't. What I did is I cut everybody's pay 20%. Works for me. Staff. Should have fired them. Should have fired 7. Did. I'm a nice guy, right? Now everybody's pissed at me. Instead of the 7 that I should have fired, being pissed, now I've got 25 that are all pissed because they're making 20% less than they were last week. You know what I should be doing right now? I should be hiring people. We should be hiring people to sell all these properties. We should be escrow and title and termite inspectors and home inspectors and loan officers and all. We should be hiring people, but we're afraid to foreclose on some properties. And anyway, we got to get active, guys. Okay, we got some events going on. We're going to be doing some buyer and seller seminars. You know what? I did a Google. It's amazing what you can do with the internet today. This is the search I was doing about 2 hours ago. I did a search, and the search was dwarf standing in front of house. A short seller. That's what I was trying to get. I was trying to find. I'm going to do a little play on it. You would be amazed at the stuff that came back. So this is the best I can do for a short seller. So we're going to start doing some seminars. I already have some dates set. Those will be announced to you. We're going to do a variety of things, and I've talked to our partners at Chase on this, and they're going to help us participate in a couple different levels. But we're going to do some seminars, buyer seminars, seller seminars, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do them locally in our offices, and we're also going to do them probably in events like this. We're going to kind of see what sort of response we get. Will we get 200 people to come to the where are we? Red line.
Doubletree.
Doubletree. Will we get 200 people to come to the Doubletree and do a short sale seminar, or would we be better off getting 10 or 15 to come to each office? We'll play with that, but the bottom line is, for the foreseeable future, we're going to probably do at least one a month, every month, forever. And the whole concept is we want mini-me. We want to educate the short sale seller. We want to say, hey, this is an opportunity. We want to get rid of this entitlement, thought necessarily, and say, we want to engage the short sale seller into this market and tell them why it's a good idea. Is there a reason right now for a short sale seller to get on the market and try to close before December 31st?
Yes.
What is that reason?
Mortgage Tax Relief Act will expire.
Mortgage Tax Relief Act expires December 31st of this year. If you're not familiar with what that is, Hector, what is that?
That is the act that actually forgives any IRS tax due on losses.
The deficiency.
Deficiency tax.
It's good. And I think that was passed 3 years ago. Federal government said if you do a short sale and there is a deficiency, $100,000, wiped out. Previously, what would happen? You would get a 1099, right, for the $100,000, and you submit that on your taxes, and it would be subject to tax based upon your income and who you are as a taxpayer. That has not been the case for a little while. Now, what was the purpose of that? The purpose of that was to motivate mini-me. Okay? You would think, and has anybody seen or done their own marketing piece that says, hey, you better list now because you might lose this benefit? Has anybody seen a piece like that? Has anybody personally done a piece like that? I've seen dozens of them. I think I've seen a couple of you guys in this room that have put out a short sale marketing piece that says, act now because in December 31st, this expires. Are the mini-me's responding to that?
No.
Why?
I feel entitled.
Well, not only that, is that act going to be extended?
Yes.
Do we know that for sure?
No.
Would we bet our life on it? I would. I would. We don't know for sure. Right now, the December 31st expiration date of, what was it called again? I forgot the name. Mortgage Tax Relief Act is expiring in 5 months. That's the law right now. I don't know if I bet my life on it. I bet Drew's life on it. that is going to be extended. It's going to, right? Why is it going to be extended? It's an election year, and starting in, probably in November, there's going to be some pressure. There's going to be some talk about it, and these politicians they're up for election in November. And what are they going to do? They're going to give us the candy, right? And they're going to extend it. Does Mini-Me know that? Actually, the reality is, Mini-Me probably doesn't know whether the act was in place or not. And frankly, doesn't even understand what it means, and probably doesn't care. But at any rate, this is our target. This is my target. This should be our collective target. Who loves short sales? 2, 3 of you. I don't love short sales. I hate short sales. There's a few of you in this room that have personally come up to me and said, Lance, I know where you're going. And I get it. But I'm trying. And you know what? And there are a few of you that can do that. Most of you can't. The few of you that can do that have been in this business for a long time, have done a tremendous job taking care of your past clients, have some equity sellers, and have the ability to close 2 or 3 or more transactions a month and not have to participate in the short sale world. There are only only a few of you in this room that can say that. And by the way, you have said that. You've come and said, not me. I got a client base. I don't have to deal with this. The rest of us need to go find me. And we need to kick his butt, and we need to get him to sign a listing agreement. Right? That's my focus. Now, having said that, are REOs coming? This is the deal. I just ran these numbers last night. Last time I ran the numbers, there was 98,000 properties that were in default from Bakersfield to San Diego. Guess what? Things have gotten better. There's only 96,000. Of those $96,000 that are in default from Bakersfield to San Diego, 49,000 of them have notice of sales filed. 49,000 of them have notice. You get that? 49,000 have notice of sales filed. They're going to go to sale in the next 21 days or sooner, which of course, or not, which again, or not. Having said that, let's just suppose that some of them get cured, some of them get short sale. Is there going to be a large percentage of foreclosures at some point? Forget percentage. Forget percentage. Is there going to be a significant number of properties that are going to go to REO?
Yes.
Of course there are. Yeah, you see, you said yes. I thought, that's right. That's right. Dwayne's the funny guy. There's going to be a large number of foreclosures. In 1997, which was the peak of the foreclosure market at the time, anybody have a guess how many properties were foreclosed by Fannie Mae in the entire year? Guess low. 10,000. The entire year in 1997, in the entire country, Fannie Mae foreclosed on 10,000 properties. For those of you that were in business in 1997, specifically in my market in the Empire, did that seem like a huge and catastrophic number?
Yes.
It did, and they made a big deal about it. At Fannie, they made a big deal about it. It's like, oh my God, we did 10,000 properties through the foreclosure process in 1997. Guys, there's 10,000 properties within a 10-mile radius of this building that should be in foreclosure right now. I mean, that number we keep hearing about, 5, 6, 7 million properties that are underwater, that's a real number. So at any rate, we're going to try to capture this. Now, what's going to happen to a lot of these short sales? Let's go back 3 or 4 slides and we see property values. What did I just say property values are going to do?
Appreciate it.
They're going to appreciate. For every 5 points, the property values, 5% property values go up. What percentage of people come out of the potential default cycle? I don't know the answer, but it's a percentage. A percentage come out. If property values go up, like I said, 50%, a significant percentage of people that today can't sell because they're upside down or don't want to participate, are those people going to be able to potentially participate, possibly even as equity sellers?
Yes.
Yep.
Even if they haven't made a payment 2 or 3 months or years?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I probably get the story wrong. Tay, are you in the room?
Yes.
Stay here? Okay, I'm going to tell your story. If I tell it wrong, please do not correct me. Okay? This is the way I heard it. Okay? This is the way I heard it. Tay has a client that she's had for a while that said, I want to sell my house, but I don't want to do a short sale. Okay? If I could get out of this property and not do a short sale, I'm selling. So at some point in time, a phone call is made. I think we might be there. Let's give it a shot. The house is listed, maybe a little higher, like Charlene's deal that she just did. You listed a little higher, thinking, well, geez, if we get lucky, we're going to be able to sell it. I know yours wasn't a short sale, but let's pretend, we could even use Charlene's as an example. Charlene thinks, don't correct me, thinks the property's worth $480, she sells it for $560, that's too much. At $480, it's a short sale. At $560, it's not, right? You put those properties on the market, they sell. I think there are a lot of mini-me's out there that if we just got a 5 or 10% appreciation in property values, they would be sellers. Okay? Now, some of those mini-me's are not showing up on the default rolls right now because they have been making their payments. They value their credit. I don't want to get under the wall, high horse here, but they value their credit. They feel there is an obligation to honor the loan that they've taken out. They are upside down. They're paying their mortgage payments. And they're just waiting and praying that they could sell this property without having to write a check and not do a short sale. Anybody agree with me on that? I think that's going to be a partial, and frankly, whether it's government controlled or artificial or whatever it happens to be, I think that's really one of the reasons, if there is a plan on a federal level to stabilize the housing market by keeping REOs off the market, inflating property values, I think that's part of the plan. Now, whether the values are artificial, we can talk about for the next 6 hours. But it ain't, I want many. And you guys need them too. As much as you hate it, you need to get them. And we're going to talk about why a little bit more approach.
What, I want to know what, if, I don't know if Chase would know that, what percentage are they doing the HARP program?
The HARP 2s?
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys doing a lot of HARP 2s?
Yes.
The answer is yes, they're doing a lot of HARP 2s. It makes sense. And they're probably going to talk about that 1 week after the break. Which, by the way, when did I say we were going to break? 11:15? Okay, about a half hour. Good. Okay, and then we'll take 15 minutes. We'll have some sandwiches. And I'm sure someone here can tell us a little bit more what's going on with HARP 2.
So that kind of affects the seller as well.
It may.
If you want to do short sell.
It may. It may. But again, if those equity sellers start to pop in, even if their equity is zero, I think we're going to see some engagement there. And forget about though, we're still got to engage the rest of them as well. Okay. I want to really quickly jump off of that topic and actually, yeah, I just want to, I don't think they have anybody from there. I take that back. Christina's here. Is Walter here? I saw Christina earlier. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Hello. Christina's new. She's a escrow officer in Claremont. At any rate, we've got Summer in Marina Valley, and Bernie in Marina Valley, and Redlands, and Walter in Claremont. Just a 30-second, not a commercial for escrow. I just want to say thank you. Okay? I want to thank the agents that are supporting the escrow. It means a lot. It really does. I mean, and if you're having issues with supporting our escrow, let me know. I'll do what I can to correct those if they're correctable. But I will tell you, since we met 5 months ago, the level of support and acceptance of our escrow officers has increased dramatically. And I just want to thank you for that. We're also doing property management. A few of you have been attending our classes in property management. And again, I want to thank you for showing some interest. We got a little bit off course, but I will remind everybody that at the last sales meeting in your office of the month, after that meeting, we're talking property management training. In the 4 offices that we've been doing these, we probably had a total of about, to my surprise, we had about 25 of our agents that have attended these classes and are at least interested. A few of you have actually gone out and signed up some properties. So again, I encourage you to do so. So if you have some interest in that, again, we're still doing property management. God forbid you don't know we do property management. So even if you don't want to engage in it as a salesperson, at least know we do it. So got a little bit of stuff I want to, well, before we get into this, does anybody have any other thoughts on the short sale stuff? I'm not getting a lot of dialogue, because we're not going to talk about this stuff anymore. Anybody, unless Chase wants to engage in it, which I know you will a little bit. Anybody got any thoughts, opinions? Am I right on? Am I way off? Or
You're good.
okay, all right, moving along. All right, want to talk about a little bit of stuff. I just, thanks to Hector, by the way, I executed a contract. What's the name of the company?
Maximize social media.
Maximize Social Media. Hector turned me on to these guys actually months ago. We finally connected recently, and it doesn't really have to do specifically with Google AdWords, but it made me think about it. We're going to do what the company's name suggests. We're going to maximize our social media. And I know Google's not necessarily social media, but it's along those lines. I put together a budget which will, in effect, include some, Facebook stuff, some AdWords, Google AdWords, a whole bunch of stuff. You guys will be the beneficiary of all of that. We're hopefully going to optimize our websites specifically to generate consumer leads, and ultimately that stuff is going to go to you. Real quick thing on Google Places. This is becoming a problem. Who knows what Google Places is? Okay, everybody else cover your ears. Okay, Google Places. You go to Google. Who has gone to Google and said, I want to find the Starbucks in Marina Valley, or Starbucks and whatever. So you type in Starbucks in the city, right? And what happens? A map pops up. What's on the map? That's push pins on the map, and what does it say? It says Starbucks in your city with an address and a phone number, and so that's where I want to go, right? Okay, we have 180 agents in 5 offices. When someone says, give me the Coldwell Banker in Claremont, how many agents do we have in Claremont? 35-ish? Whatever. 35.
45.
45. Do we want 45 push pins with 40? Yeah, who giggled? Okay. We don't want 45 push pins for the Claremont office in the city of Claremont with 45 agents in it. What do we want? One that says Coldwell Banker Town and Country, here's our address, here's our phone number.
And Stephen Amaya's picture's going to be right.
Right. Okay, this is the challenge for those of you that know what I'm talking about right now. Who at least understands what I'm talking about right there? Okay, so this is the thing. At some point, somebody is going to come to you and say, well, how come you don't have a Google Place? You need to maximize, some salesperson. And they're going to say, well, that sounds like a great idea. I work at Coldwell Banker in Reno Valley, and here's my address, and you're going to sign up, and you are going to basically supplant yourself on top of me. Let me rephrase that. On top of the office. And there's going to be a picture of Stephen Amaya. Mike Boab. Anybody else? There's going to be a picture of an agent and their phone number that's going to show up on Google. We don't like that, do we? Don't do that. It's pissing me off. All right? So please don't do that. It's creating problems for us. Lead router. I have a special announcement. Okay? Are you ready? Now, first of all, there's very few of you that are participating in lead router right now. We only have, out of our 175 agents, we have, I think, 27 who are active. And we have, of those 27, at any given time, probably 10 or 11 of you that are actually eligible to get leads. So, are you ready? This is what we're going to do. I'd like more people to participate in lead router. Now you may say, wait a minute, Lance, you threw me off lead router. No, I didn't. I did not throw anybody off lead router. I just asked that you come and do a couple things to stay on lead router. So this is the deal. If you have any interest in lead router at all, and you're interested in getting back in any capacity, let me know. And then on top of that, I'm not going to charge any referral fees on lead router leads for the rest of the year. That's the best you could do? Man, I thought I'd get a standing ovation for that. At least for the people that are using it. People are using it. Yeah, I think it's good Lord.
Can you retroact?
No. New deals. If it's in the pipeline, you got to pay. But at any rate, there's a lot of misunderstandings in lead router. Norm and I have talked about this. Sheila and I have certainly talked about it recently. If you're in the Reno Valley office, I'd like to think you totally get it because we've been using it the longest. We've been on it for 6 or 7 years now. The reality is, I would say at least 50% of agents, even in Moreno Valley, who listen to me talk about it ad nauseum for 6 years, they still don't understand what lead router is all about. I'm not going to go on for 20 minutes about lead router other than to say you need to be on lead router, guys. Even if you're in it, which is one of the reasons I'm going to just get rid of the referral for the rest of the year, because I want you to get in, I want you to take a look at it, I want you to participate, and not because of the office leads. I want you to participate because it's good for your business, your personal business. It's great for your listing presentations. It's good for you. So even if you don't want to participate in what the office is doing, that doesn't mean you need to lock yourself out of lead router. You still need to active in lead router and have your own account set up. So we're going to do a little bit of a push on that and try to get you guys educated. Short sale designation. This is kind of leading into what's going on with Chase. I don't remember who it was at Chase, but I'm certain someone's going to repeat this here when we after the break. One of the things that Chase wants, in order for them to consider us as one of their short sale listing agents, is we have to have some sort of a designation that says we need some letters, we need an acronym tattooed on our chest. Okay. I've just put this one up, not because it's the best, but this is the CFR, which stands for the Short Sale and Foreclosure Resource. That is, I believe, is that an NER designation? Yes? Anybody have it? Okay, one of you. That's one? Only one of us? Two? Okay. Anyway, the reason we put this one on here is because through Coldwell Banker University, is it available now, Norm, or when do they?
It's coming up, Lance, the first week in September, on the 4th and 5th, 10 to 2 o'clock Pacific time, online through CBU. You have to do it, and you have to sign up for it ahead of time. It's $149, which is the best price I've found for that particular designation.
Okay.
I'll have a bulletin on it, and I'll get you a copy.
We'll get out all the information. I'm sure most of you didn't hear that or write that down, but this is a designation that you should have. It does cost a little bit. It's available through CBU. Who has a CBPE? Okay, a couple. Only two of us. Oh, that's surprising. Okay, for whatever reason, well, actually, that doesn't surprise me. The CBPE is a little expensive. When I did it, I think it was $800. It was 2 days, live class. I understand now you can do it online. But there is an alphabet soup of short sale designations, and I think the Chase folks may share what you guys consider the top tier. But the bottom line is, if you want to participate in this short sale arena, as much as you may say, are you kidding me? I know how to do this. I don't need 3 letters behind my name on my business card. I get that, but you need 3 letters behind your name on a business card. Okay? You need the SFR, you need the CBPE, you need the 5-star short sale certified, whatever it is. And I know there's a bunch of them, and I know this gets expensive, and I know there's annual renewals, and in some cases there's monthly fees. I get it, okay? But this is our marketplace. You need to participate. So take a look at that information that's going to be coming out shortly. Just a real quick commercial on the telephones. All of our offices have been converted except for Claremont. Claremont's going to be happening any day. Any day. So you will hopefully be converted any day. After Claremont is done, we will all be on the same universal phone system. It has been a 2-year march, actually a 2-year and 4-month march. Thanks for your patience. Best I can tell, so far so good. I know there's been some bumps on the road, but anyway, I want to thank you. Once everybody gets on the system, then frankly, some of the benefits of the phone system will really be heard. I don't want to talk about this, but just anybody got any major issues? One? You're fired. Okay, for those of you with, okay, well, let's take a minute. What you raise your hand. What's your problem?
I can't dial any numbers out of the 310.
Don't dial one.
Okay, for those of you that are having trouble dialing, don't dial the number 1. You do have to dial the area code. If you're accustomed to dialing 1, stop dialing 1. Your problem's fixed. What's the next one? Shh. Right.
When my messages come through the office to my home, which is what it's
Yep.
set up for,
Yep.
you cannot hear. I already can't hear.
Can't hear.
You really cannot hear. You can hear a slight mumbling, and that's all. It's
Like below a whisper.
It's below a whisper.
Okay.
It means that I almost lost the listening the other day. I caught, after about 10 times, I caught an.
Anybody else experiencing that? What Charlene's describing, and I would think that most of us have it set up this way. I'm set up this way. Someone calls me at the office, extension 250. The phone rings at my desk twice. And then if I don't pick up, it automatically goes to my cell, goes to home, whatever it happens to be. And now I'm on phone. What Charlene's experiencing, she can't hear. Anybody else having that problem? 2 of you? 3 of you? Okay. Brian will take a look at that and see what's going on.
And fraud calls. You're on the phone talking, and all of a sudden, you just lose.
Anybody got a lot of drop calls? 2 of you? Is it possible it was a cell connection on the other side of the drop? Impossible? Rose, you're fired. I'm sorry. 3 complaints. No. Okay. Rose's office is available. There's one problem. The phone doesn't work in her office. We'll work on it. Hector.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback on my handset. I have an earpiece.
Yeah.
I don't get the feedback when I'm on my earpiece, but occasionally when I'm on the handset, battery drains on the earpiece, I have to use a handset, I get a feedback, and the client on the other side of the person on the other end of the line is getting feedback.
Okay. This is what I want to do. Please let us know. I mean, we have an IP phone system. It's internet based. we're going to potentially have some of those type of, actually, as much as I am, not happy that we've got 4 people having problems, I'm ecstatic that we only have 4 people that have problems. But I think we should be able to address all of those specific issues, and hopefully that's not. I saw one more hand, and I'm not going to change it.
Mine is just that they can't hear me. They say that it breaks up.
Okay, and office phone.
The office phone.
Okay. All right. When you're having those problems, please let Brian know and me as quickly as possible.
A user guide, please. I don't know how you use that.
And God forbid, who wants a user guide for phone? Only 3 minutes? Well, I want one, so we're all going to get one.
It's already there.
Oh, it's on the portal. It's on the portal. We'll get something out to you. Not everybody's going to the portal, obviously. Okay, one more thing on the phones, and then we're gonna just finish up, and then we're gonna take a break, get you guys a little bit of finger food. If you are, I've said this before, but we got a group here, but not everybody attends all the meetings. If you are interested in having one of these phones at your home office, who has a home office? Keep your hands up. Who actually spends a couple hours a day or a couple hours a week working at their home office? Okay, all of you. Okay. You people are prime candidates to have this phone sitting at your desk at home. I have one. I love it. You need one thing. You need a fast internet connection at home. So if your hand was up and you have a fast internet connection at home and you would like one of these phones at your desk at your home, let me know and we'll make that happen.
What is a fast internet connection?
That is a great question.
Brian, what's a fast internet connection?
DSL will not cut the mustard. Okay, if you have DSL, goodbye. It's got to be FiOS, something along those lines. Because when they tell you your connection is fast, they're talking download. Download is important, but your upload is just as important when you're talking about voice quality. Okay, so if you guys aren't sure, contact me, send an email to the help desk, help@cbpre.com, and I'll send you instructions on how to run a test that'll give me the information to tell you if your connection is good enough or not.
Okay, well, the bottom line is there was a large number of people that rose their hands, okay? I want every single one of you, I want to buy you a phone and put it on your desk, okay? It's good business for me and you, all right? So if you do a work out of your property, out of your home on a regular basis, and you have an internet connection that will support it, put the phone at your home office, and if a call comes in and Bev gets it and you're extension 22 and they transfer you to 22 and you're sitting at home in your pajamas, your phone's going to ring and you're going to pick it up and the client's going to think that you're sitting in the office. And then you want to call them out. If you want the caller ID, now you're calling out on clients. If you want the caller ID on that phone to be the office number or your cell phone number, Brian's going to do a couple of magic strokes. And when you call out, the caller ID that you want to show on the call is going to show up as to whatever you want it to be. So, at any rate, I saw a bunch of hands. Take advantage of this. If you don't take advantage of it, I'd just be curious as to know why. Why would you not want one of these in your house? So, at any rate, enough of the phones. If you have your license that's coming up for renewal, try our online school. We have an online school on our website. Take a look at it, just for giggles. Video. Would it be a meeting without talking about video? I'm going to continue to try to encourage everybody here to shoot videos, personal videos, whatever it happens to be. We had an opportunity last month. We set up a conference room in Moreno Valley and said anybody who wants to shoot a video can come in and shoot a video. And we had a total of, anybody want to guess? Zero. Who's raising their hand? Hey.
My partner and I thought we were one of the ones who won.
Yes.
The video, and so just to kind of go back.
So you're ready to shoot a video? Okay, we're going to put you up against the wall during the break. We're going to shoot that video. Okay, this is the deal. If you want a video, all you got to do is let me know. If you want a video and you haven't gotten it, let me know. We're going to shoot it. What we've been doing is we normally, the Moreno Valley, and I understand this isn't necessarily convenient, but we set up the Moreno Valley conference room one day a month for the day. We put the green screen on the wall so we can do all sorts of cool little stuff behind you and put in graphics. And come on down. We're there all day and you can set it. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you're like, well, how come we can't do it in Claremont? We can do it in Claremont. All you gotta do is talk to Norm, and Norm says, hey, there's 4 people on Tuesday that want to do videos. We'll march out there, and we'll shoot 4 people in Claremont that want to do videos. The point being is, I want you guys to do videos. We're still struggling in that capacity. I really would like to see more. Okay, I think this is my last slide, then we'll take some questions. There's actually a few people that I was hoping would be at today's meeting that aren't, because they're at a Tom Ferry event in Anaheim. Actually, what are you doing here, Stephen? And Selene? Wow. Thank you. All right, they chose to be with us as opposed to go to see Tom Ferry today. They'll go tomorrow or the next day. At any rate, I know there's kind of a battle of Tom Ferry and Mike Ferry, who's the best, and the old man and the young guy. I get all that. Okay, but there is a free event on September 12th from 10 to 4 at the Skirball Center. Who went last year? 3 of you? 4 of you? Okay, this is free. Mike Ferry is going to be there. Who's seen Mike Ferry in the last 25 years? Okay, about half of it. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this guy before, you need to go see him. He's fantastic. He's mean. He's gruff. He will insult you. Will he insult you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn straight he will. You know? But the insults hurt because they're true. Right? So at any rate, whether you're in the camp of Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry or Brian Feeney or whoever it is, this event is free, and they're going to feed you. Unlike me giving you just a cookie, they're going to give you a box lunch. So this is who's registered for this. Okay, I promised them we'd have 50 of our agents there, and I prepaid them. Great. Okay. So you're paying attention. Anyway, September 12th. It should be a great event. It's free. Having said that, it is limited room only, so there's a place to register. We sent this email. Everybody got the email that said you're invited, right? Okay. All right. So anyway, please participate. It should be a great event. Okay. A couple questions, and then we've got about 7 minutes for questions, and then we'll kind of do a little precursor of what Chase is going to do. Then we're going to take a break at 11:15. Anybody got a dialogue? Anybody got anything to say? Good, bad? Good? Good. Actually, I wasn't asking for good. Did you get, nothing? Well, let me ask, okay, we can't take a break. Let me ask you guys a couple questions then. I'm a data guy. I need some feedback from, let me ask you this. Who is primarily working with buyers right now? About half of you. Are you feeling good about that? Are you frustrated with inventory levels? What are your buyers doing? Are your buyers still engaged, or are you afraid you're going to lose them?
A little of both. After the 5th or 6th outing, and 10 offers, they're like, maybe I'll wait.
So we're concerned they're going to check out. If they don't get in escrow by October, do you think they'll check out till January? Wait for the holidays? Yeah.
We have one that's VA, and we can't get her amended for anything because of the fact that she's VA. That's the feedback that we're getting from listing agents, that they're pretty much talking their buyer or their sellers out of taking her offer, even if she's offering more than.
Who's talking about?
They're listing agents.
Oh, the listing agent's talking about it. Because they don't want to.
Can you repeat that?
We can't hear that.
Well, forget about the VA offer. Are people writing great conventional offers of losing the cash?
Yes.
Stuff. Yeah. My concern on the buying side of the transaction with the real buyers, the people like us, is that if they don't get an escrow in the next couple of months, August, September, October, that they may check out until January, February, wait through the holidays. Has that happened before? It seems like it happens all the time. You get these buyers' frustration levels that are up. Who's working on the selling side mostly? Okay, wait a minute. Just a minute ago, we only had half the room buyers go up. So the rest of you are solitaire? Chess? Okay. I didn't see a lot of sellers' hands go up, and that's what I wanted to close on, is the following. Going back to my mini-me slide, and going back to our investors, I want to, and frankly, this may lead into a little bit what Chase is going to be talking about. I want to encourage you guys. You're going to get an email from me in the next 4 or 5 days. Everybody in this room and everybody who's not in this room is going to get an email. That email basically is going to say, I want you to go out and I want you to find me. Now, if you're already doing short sale prospecting, the email is going to say, go do what you're already doing. If you're not doing that, it's going to say, try something different. And this is the criteria that I'm going to give you. I'm going to say, you go find a short sale seller in this criteria. San Bernardino, Redlands, Moreno Valley, Fontana, Rialto, Riverside, Paris, Upland, Ontario. In a sales price less than $230,000, between 1,200 square feet and 1,800 square feet. You listening? 5,000 square foot lot or bigger. 20 years old or newer. Got that? You find me somebody who's not on the market right now, and you can knock on those people's door and say, hey, I have a buyer for your house. Cash buyer, they can close as soon as you can close. Now, you might already be able to do that, okay, because we all have a lot of buyers. So that's what we used to do, by the way. You remember the old school guys? You had a buyer, the house that they wanted wasn't available, but you knew what they wanted, right? So where did we go do? We went and looked at that and said, well, this is what you want. Your house for sale. I got a buyer. You already sell it. Same concept. This isn't new. So, in addition to that, for those of you that are foreclosure radar aficionados, I would suggest that you go on a foreclosure radar, take the exact same criteria that I just gave you, okay, and go into those and say, hey, I got a buyer for your house. Now again, don't freak out when I say what I'm going to say right now, because I understand this could create some challenges, but I got a buyer for your house. We're not even going to put a for sale sign in the yard. We're going to sell it. There's a cash buyer right now. Is that a problem? Could be. Certainly could be. Can a seller still sell their house to whoever they want to?
Yes.
Does the bank have to say yes?
No.
No. Does the bank want the MLS printout that shows it's been on the market for 100 days?
Yes.
Open to everybody?
Yes.
Does the thing I just said have a problem with that?
Yes.
It does. Okay, we'll deal with that when we get there. All right? But the bottom line is we have investors that are willing to pay retail for these properties. Cash. You're going to make it as simple as they possibly can. Now, I understand that pre-selling these properties is not necessarily what Bank of America and Chase and everybody else wants. They want the property on the market, they want 5,000 offers, and then they want the seller to accept the best offer. Does the seller always, unlike Fannie and Freddie, does the seller always accept the highest and best offer?
No.
What do they accept? They offer they think is going to close. Do they tend to think the cash offers are going to close?
Yes.
Do you tend to think the cash offers are going to close? Okay, let me give you something else to think about. You have a short sale listing right now. You are in escrow with an FHA buyer that wants to close escrow by Christmas. The loan is not approved, but you are in escrow, you've got an acceptance, and you are pressing towards Christmas. Now Chase says it's approved. What are the chances of you, even though you diligently followed up with the buyer's agent, what are the chances of you calling the buyer's agent and them saying, hey, the loan's approved, we can close, and guess what? I think we might actually make Christmas. What are the chances of that buyer's gone? Likely. Likely they are gone. Guess who won't be gone? These investors that we've been talking to. They don't care if it closes at Christmas, they don't care if it closes February of next year. They don't care. So, a little different spin. You have an escrow that's going to fall out. It's a short sale. Call me. If it falls in the criteria I just gave you, listed below 230, 1,218 square feet in those particular cities, 5,000 square foot lot or larger, less than 20 years old. These guys, not across the board, but generally speaking, they will give you a cash offer and they can close immediately. Listen.
Is that the only benefit, no sign on the yard?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some problems with that. For those of you that are saying, no, geez, that doesn't sound right. I mean, Lance isn't even going to put it on the market.
No, but I mean, that's the only benefit to the
It
seller.
could be the benefit. I think the reason a lot of the sellers don't want to do this is embarrassment, pride, yada, yada, yada.
Will these investors will willing to pay some money if they accept, does the seller accept their offer or?
Are they willing to do what? Pay money to the
Yeah,
seller?
pay money.
If the bank will allow it, they're all willing to pay money. If Chase says, I know they can't, but if Chase says that the investor can give them $5,000 relocation assistance, then they'll pay $5,000 relocation assistance, but Chase is gonna say, no, can't do it. If Chase says that the seller can stay, by the way, they'll do rent backs too. If the seller wants to stay and live in the property, now again, you know, the rules are changing so fast, but you gotta remember, there's no monolithic rule for everybody. You know, some of the banks say, well, no, after you sell, you have to leave. You know, some of them say you can stay. You know, matter of fact, a lot of them, I think that's part of the homeowner bill of rights now, is you can short sell and stay. I you know, buff up on that, but they'll let them stay. So, at any rate, bottom line is, we have and you may already have your own. You may say, geez, I'm not interested in that. I'll do it myself. Great. Okay, but if you don't fall into that category, bottom line is we need inventory to sell. These are full commissions, by the way, too, these investors. They don't want any referrals back or any kickbacks or anything like that.
No pay liens,
Everything.
whatever the bank doesn't pay.
It has to make sense, but it has to fall under the, you know, is the yield proper and the appreciation right. But they want those properties to fit those criteria. I'm telling you, if I didn't have anything to do today, I would take the data I just gave you and I'd start knocking doors. And that's who I'd be looking
So
for.
it's full commission plus property management fees?
Well, we haven't got to the property management yet, but that's really what I want. I want to manage these properties. The one investor is buy and hold, and I want to manage them because 3 years from now, they're going to sell. Who gets to take the listings? We do. That's what it's all about. It's been our business model for 25 years. It's worked fantastic. I want those listings. And I don't know this for sure, but I think it's possible that one of the investors that we're working with may actually have gotten that bulk sale property that Fannie and Freddie did, those 2,500 properties across the country. 500 of them are our market. I don't know for sure because I can't say, but there seem to be some things that indicated they may actually have been the bid that got awarded for those properties, which I hope they are because they're going to need help on property management. And again, you guys may be saying, property management, I'm tired of hearing about property management. I'm telling you, property management is so important to your guys' survival in this business. And I know it's not. You haven't been around long enough. Mike, how many properties have you closed, escrows have you closed as a direct result of our property management business in the last 20 years?
100 maybe?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that answer? Mike, in 20 years, has closed 100 transactions, and I think that's probably accurate. 100 transactions as a direct result of our property management business. 100 deals. In other words, if he hadn't had access to the property management business, he would have had 100 less transactions. Let's just assume the average commission is $3,500 each. You guys do the math. Got a little bit of money? If it's a deal a year, it's a deal more than you would have had. But you have to engage. That doesn't mean everybody's going to get it. You got to engage. Mike's engaged. He participates. He understands. It's good for a couple deals a year for him, maybe more. So, okay, as promised, it is 1:15, or excuse me, 1:15. It's 1:15. Anyway, it's 11:15. I'm not going to pre-run Chase. Let's take a 15-minute break. We'll introduce them, and then we'll take the hour and let them close it out. So, thanks for listening, guys.